Welcome, everybody. It is absolutely wonderful to see this room chock filled with this good energy. So, thank you all for being here. I want to introduce my colleague, Allie Eden, who is going to share some information about Spanish interpretation tonight.
Muy buenas tardes a todos, todas y todes. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ellie Eden, and as part of our commitment in this space to language justice, we want to make sure that this is a place in which everyone feels welcome and is able to participate fully in the language of their heart. For that reason, we are providing simultaneous interpretation in Spanish. If you hear me speaking in the back over there, that's what I'm doing. I'm not being rude. I'm simply interpreting. I am going to go ahead and repeat the instructions in Spanish and then make sure that our interpretation users are set up and ready to go. Muy buenas tardes, como dije, mi nombre es Ali Eden y como parte de nuestro compromiso continuo con la justicia del lenguaje, queremos que esto sea un espacio en el que todo el mundo se sienta bienvenido y capaz de expresarse plenamente. Por lo tanto, vamos a proveer interpretación simultánea en español. Si usted ocupa interpretación y no cuenta actualmente con un equipo de interpretación, por favor, pase atrás para verme. También vamos a probar la señal. Para los que ya tienen su equipo, thank you so much. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Allie. Once again, good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to the 2024 Human Relations Awards. My name is Beth Jager, and I am the chair of the Human Relations Commission. And on behalf of my fellow commissioners, it is our privilege today to recognize individuals and organizations who work actively and purposefully to make positive changes in our community. Your passionate, impactful work is integral to building a sense of community for all, especially in these times of uncertainty. You are an inspiration for all of us to look beyond ourselves and instead look at how we can focus on advancing a community where we all have the opportunity to thrive, where diversity is celebrated, where the common good guides our actions, and where we all belong. Our Human Relations Award recipients and finalists are individuals and organizations that advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion in our community, that have positively impacted an underrepresented population, that serve as role models by motivating others to effect positive change in marginalized communities. And they advance the goal of making Fort Collins a safe and welcoming community for all. We welcome our award recipients, our award finalists, their families and friends, and those who submitted nominations. We are very excited, as you can tell, to celebrate your uplifting contributions to building a sense of belonging for all in our community. I want to recognize all of this year's award recipients and finalists. For those of you who wish, please stand when I read your name, and please remain standing as I read all the names of these inspiring change makers. And I just want to give you a hint. This is a wonderfully long list. So we're going to ask you to hold your applause until the end. So let me begin. Hiba Abdel-Jalil, Denise Apodaca, Arboretum Coffee, Daniela Tihain Benner, the BIPOC Alliance, CSU Multi-Faith and Belief Initiatives, Crossroads Safe House, Beth DeHaven, Lily Durkee, Elder House Adult Day Care Program, Family Housing Network, Food Bank for Larimer County, Fort Collins Museum of Discovery, Front Range Community College Division of Equity and Inclusion, Grace Upon Grace Project, Pat Griego, Araceli Green, Heart and Soul, Howdy Neighbor Events, Paul Judson, Rabbi Hillel Katzir, Kids Closet, Barb Kistler, La Casina, Liberty Commons School, Jace Long, Michelle Leroy, Tony Lynch, Val Macri Lind, Delia Mahaney, Arby Miller, Sydney Milner, Museo de las Tres Colonias, Christy Neely, Atlas Ojendes, Project Self-Sufficiency, Carolina Cajinas, Nina Rubin, Jody Lee Snow, Youth Action for Health, Annette Zacharias. Congratulations to you all. Thank you all for advancing equity and inclusion and respect for diversity in our community. I also want to recognize and thank our mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, city council members, city and county leaders for sharing this celebration with us and helping to recognize this amazing group. This afternoon, we will hear remarks from Mayor Jenny Arndt and Mayor Pro Tem Emily Francis. We will share the history of the Human Relations Award, which you see up here, and you will meet several of our Human Relations Commissioners as they help to introduce our recipients. It is now my honor to introduce Mayor Jenny Arndt and to thank her for her support of the HRC.
What a lovely event. It's so nice to look out on the audience. Good afternoon and welcome to today's celebration of the 43rd, which is impressive in itself, Annual Human Relations Awards Ceremony. It's a pleasure and a privilege to support the Human Relations Commission as they honor outstanding individuals, organizations, and teams who have been nominated for the 2024 Human Relations Awards. These awards recognize those in our community who work to advance equity and inclusion and do so with intentionality and informed compassion. These awards recipients and finalists are change makers and oftentimes go unrecognized in the hard work you do every day. They serve and inspire others to practice fairness and understand that equality can only be achieved through equitable resources and meaningful support. These awards and the work that they honor take on greater significance as our community navigates uncertain times and profound challenges. They recognize some of the most important work and services that address those challenges, whether ongoing or new, that disproportionately impact community members already facing social and economic disparities. We acknowledge that local government plays a role in creating equity and inclusion as a step towards ensuring a healthier community for all residents. For example, we are working towards equitable resources such as affordable and achievable housing and access to public transportation. Collectively, we can make a difference. Individually, each and every one of us plays a role in changes needed to make Fort Collins a safer and more welcoming place for all. Special thanks to those of you who took time to send in your thoughtful nominations and your powerful stories. Without your time and effort, we would not have the opportunity to recognize the vital work of those individuals and organizations. Finally, I applaud all the award winners, recipients, and finalists, their ongoing commitment to advancing human rights and social justice in the Fort Collins community. And on a very personal note, it is my honor to be mayor of such a caring and lovely community. I know we have a long way to go, and our work will never be done in this area, but it is one of the great pleasures of my life. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. It is now my honor to introduce Mayor Pro Tem Emily Francis. Mayor Pro Tem Francis has been a tireless champion for equity and inclusion in our city, and it has also been the Human Relations Commission's council liaison for the past several years. We greatly appreciate your partnership and important guidance as we work to fulfill our mission. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you everyone for being here. This is one of my favorite events of the year, and every year it grows. Somebody said that there used to be about 20 people who used to come, and now look at us here. So this is amazing. I just want to thank the HRC for all of their work to help grow this, and all of you who have been such change makers in our community. So, and again, thank you for the opportunity to participate in today's ceremony. Over the past several years, which I think is almost 6 years now, I have been pleased to serve as the City Council liaison to the Human Relations Commission and work with its volunteer commissioners. The HRC was established by City Council to heighten awareness and respect for diversity through educational programs and activities, and to celebrate individual characteristics. This is the time in the program every year when I get to read a very long list of these characteristics, but it's also a very proud list because it's everything that we get to celebrate together. So, characteristics such as race, ethnicity, gender identity and expression, physical and intellectual abilities, sexual orientation, age, culture, familial status, immigration status, marital status, national origin, religious and spiritual beliefs, socioeconomic status, veteran status, among others, and not to mention all the intersectionalities. It is a very long list of identities, yet one that reflects the diversity of Fort Collins residents. That's why City Council, the Human Relations Commission, and individuals and organizations like those nominated for these awards are critical in creating an inclusive, safe, and equitable community where everyone belongs and thrives. I want to join the mayor in applauding all the contributions of all the award recipients and finalists and celebrating their commitment to making our city a better place for everyone. Your work is inspiring and demonstrates the impact that individuals and organizations can make within our community. This journey will continue, and with people and organizations like you, and with all of us joining in this responsibility together. I am confident we will continue to make progress in building a community where we all belong. I'm grateful for your work and your passion for equity, inclusion, justice, and human rights. What you do matters and serves an example for all of us. So I just want to, once again, everyone, please give yourself a round of applause for all of your hard work and contributions. And next, I get the pleasure of introducing our HRC Commissioner, Phil Walker, to talk about the history and the meaning of the Human Relations Award. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily, and congratulations to this afternoon's award recipients. Since 1981, the Human Relations Commission has recognized individuals and organizations who work tirelessly to promote equity and inclusion. In 2017, we commissioned artist Peter Coley to create a piece of art that is representative of a strong, healthy, diverse community. The painting that Peter created is entitled Gathering. Each of today's award recipients will receive a print of this piece. Peter described the painting as a coming together of colors, shapes, and textures to form a unifying experience of inclusion. I hope this painting will help to inspire you and others to continue in your service towards community. Sincerely, Peter Coley. And now I'd like to invite HRC Commissioner Dr. Masood Ahmad and recipient Dr. Arpi Miller to the podium for the presentation of the individual award.
Thank you, Phil. Good evening, distinguished guests. It is my honor to introduce this year's recipient of the Fort Collins Human Relations Award, Dr. R.P. Miller. Changemakers appear in our community in many forms as teachers, healers, and champions of justice. But occasionally, we encounter someone who embodies all of these roles. Someone who not only sees the possibility of positive change, but creates pathways to achieve them. Tonight, we honor such a visionary. RP embodies the very essence of this award, though through her dedication to immigration justice and human dignity, she has profoundly impacted our community, particularly underrepresented and underserved populations. As the daughter of an Armenian refugee, she carries with her the story of displacement, of seeking sanctuary, and of building community. But rather than let this experience remain a personal memory, she has transformed it into a mission that has enhanced the lives of thousands who live in Fort Collins. In 2017, RP co-founded the Interfaith Solidarity and Accompaniment Coalition, or ISAC. Accompaniment, I learned this new word, as a faith-based response to injustices faced by immigrants and people of color. Under her leadership, Isaac has grown into a transformative force in our community, built on pillars of education, advocacy, and empowerment. Her work has connected faith groups, immigrant families, and community leaders to solve critical issues and bridge gaps. Some of the achievements of Isaac under Dr. Miller's leadership are hundreds of scholarships have been awarded through the Immigration Legal Fund, assisting asylum seeking victims of violence, unaccompanied youth, and families with children in pursuing complex legal cases. Family crisis support, that's a second achievement. Family crisis support initiatives have provided critical resources for thousands of families during emergencies, including health crises and unexpected losses. Number three, annual winter gear drives have ensured that families new to Fort Collins have warm clothing to weather the Colorado winters. And number four, Isaac's Community Empowerment Clinics, serving hundreds of residents, offer vital workshops and resources such as Know Your Rights, workforce training, and opportunities for youth to participate in fellowships and foster belonging and purpose. Tonight, as we present the Human Relations Award to Dr. Miller, we do more than honor an individual. We celebrate the kind of community we can become when we follow the path. Follow the path she has helped illuminate. One of the path of compassion, courage, and unwavering commitment to human dignity. Please join me in congratulating Dr. R.P. Miller.
Hey now. Hello, beautiful people. How are we doing? ¿Cómo estamos? ¿Estamos bien? Okay. I woke up this morning and I opened my news feed. I saw the Time Magazine Person of the Year. And within 2 seconds, any feeling that I had that I'm kind of bashful and I don't like getting these kinds of awards, I was like, I'll be there. We will be here. We need to be here holding it down in our little corner of the universe here in Fort Collins. We need to be holding it down hard right now. And this is a place where, and a time where we can recommit to affirming and upholding the human dignity of every single community member in Fort Collins. And for us in our work in Isaac, as was mentioned, that is really working with immigrants and refugees and their families, our families. My mom is an immigrant, and religious minorities. But we're going to continue our work, and guess what? We're going to do it with joy, humor, love, and laughter, and we need to stay in that space. I'm just going to say Shannon gave me one of her minutes, so we discussed this. I know we were here 8 years ago in a similar political context, and it really can feel, it's really hard. It's really hard. I'm looking at all my colleagues. We know it's really hard, and it feels like going backwards. And in some ways, yes. And in other ways, no. We have built some really beautiful things here in the last 8 years. And one of those beautiful things that I've had the honor to help build is Isaac. And Isaac, as you can just see in this room, is this tiny little node in this giant network of all of these individuals and partners that we work with. And we feel so lucky to be here. All of you, Tony, Karen, I see you. In this moment, I think that we're really going to need all of you. We're going to need the city to commit to this mission of upholding human dignity. And I kind of remember 8 years ago, people told us when we formed a coalition instead of a sort of single organization, people thought it was crazy making. And it did feel a little unwieldy and a little wild, intergenerational. We have boomers and we have young people sitting together trying to understand each other and exchange their wisdom, and faith community members of all traditions. We're Christian, Jewish, we're Universalist, we're Buddhist, we're Muslim, people that are secular and community based, all cultures and all languages. And we found a way to come together and do this work within Isaac as an organization. People with extreme privilege that want to know where to put their gifts, people with formal education, our working class holding it down, people with lived wisdom and embodied experience. And we did it, and we're doing it, and we become a family, not just in Isaac, but with all of our partners. I think our goal continues to be, and my goal, my vision, is that we don't need to do anything with our humans. Our humans are amazing. We need to create a context that is worthy of the human dignity and inner nobility of every single member of our community. And whatever's happening out there politically outside Fort Collins, in Fort Collins, every member of the city is ours, and we need to take care of each other. And I think for me, that doesn't just mean, helping people to feel safe and healthy, but allowing them to unlock their greatest talents and their greatest offerings. So I'm grateful for this space. Honestly, I'm just honored to be in this space with all of you. If you think of like a tip of an iceberg, I'm just this tiny tip of this iceberg. And our team in Isaac, our community leaders, they're all, like many of them sitting in the section. Stand up, you all. Stand up. Where's Latina Isaac? Stand up. Stand up, brother. This is the community that's doing the work, right? And all of our partners. And a lot of it's carried by our directly impacted community members who have lived and are experiencing daily these injustices. And at the same time, they're carrying much of the work of social justice. They're carrying the labor of social justice and also doing it, infusing it with persistent hope and love and joy. So personally, I want to thank you all for loving me, holding me accountable. That's important. Listening to crazy ideas, not being afraid to tell me what's up and that they won't work when they won't work. Thank you for your courage, your work ethic, your solidarity, and honestly, this award is nothing without all of you. It's nothing without all of you. This is our award. And just a couple more things, since I'm going well over my time. I think behind all of us that do this work is our families. Our families, like those of us that work in social justice, we know the toll it takes on our families. I want to thank my spouse, Terry. Thank you for holding it down on the home front, honey. Love you. I want to thank my boys, my beautiful boys, Liam and Rafi. Hey, guys. I'm sorry. I know mommy's gone a lot of weekends, a lot of nights. I'm trying to do better, and I hope you all will hold me accountable. Tell me when I need to go home. And I think the very last thing I want to say, because it's human rights, it was International Human Rights Day this week, is thank my grandparents who partly raised me. They were both survivors of the Armenian genocide. My grandma was 6 years old when she was put on a wagon to Aleppo with strangers. Her mom, what felt like abandonment was the ultimate act of love to try to save her life. My grandpa was a sole survivor of the genocide. They were 6, 7, 8 years old. They don't even know. They don't know that they never knew their ages. And they moved, they lived in orphanages. They survived. They moved 9 times. They started a new life. They had their own family, and then they were displaced again from Jerusalem. And miraculously, they made it to the U.S. Even more miraculously, we all made it here because I know you all have a story. And so grateful for all of our grandparents, the dreams that they had for us. This is our home. We're not moving anytime soon. This is our home. We're here to stay, and these are our siblings. So I love all of you, and thank you for this great honor.
Thank you again, Dr. Miller. Would like to invite HRC Commissioner Barb Kistler and Nina Rubin to the podium for the presentation of the individual award.
Okay. Good evening, all. Thank you all for being here. It is absolutely my honor to introduce Nina Rubin to those of you who don't know her. She's our second recipient of the 2024 individual category Human Relations Award. And as her nominator stated, Nina has been bringing people together in Fort Collins in this area across perceived lines of difference for more than 30 years. Yeah. Her accomplishments are way too many to fully capture, so I'm going to just share a few. She's been the leader of the Fort Collins Interfaith Council for several different terms over the last 30 years. She's been a volunteer at Centennial High School, focusing particularly on Centennial's health clinic that serves teenage kids. She's been a board member of the Federal Emergency Food and Shelter Granting Program. She's been co-founder of an organization called Our Commitment to Self and Society, which has guided the HRC's work in many ways. And she's been a teacher, trainer, mentor, and guide to hundreds of folks, not only in our community, but throughout the country. However, this list of a few of her accomplishments doesn't really capture her essence and her life's work and its essence, nor the incredible impact she's had and continues to have on folks. Her essence can best be described and captured through her belief, and this is her true belief, that leading from the back of the room is her superpower. Leading from the back of the room enables others to rise, to grow, to lead, and to essentially help them see their superpower. She believes that you can hold the container to get done what's needed, and that helping put others forward creates the next generation of leaders. Her nominator illustrates this so well, and I quote, "Throughout Nina's presidencies of the Interfaith Council, she has brought people together from many faith communities and nonprofits to further the work of both. She's a convener. She's been instrumental in getting nonprofits to work together to avoid competition for the same limited funds available for the work. Nina's impact has spanned housing and homelessness, gun violence prevention, health and well-being, refugee assistance, disability inclusion and integration, and on and on. This work, helped by Nina's leadership, is actively making Fort Collins a more equitable, inclusive, and welcoming choice for all. Please join me in a huge round of thank yous for Nina Rubin.
Arpi gave my speech. Yesterday was the anniversary, the 76th anniversary of the National Human Rights. And it was such a shining time of moving forward. And now all over the world, we see different things happening. And I'm going to take my time to do a short history lesson. 20 years ago, when Wi-Fi became a thing, people started interacting more online than in person. Sorry, I'll get louder. And people had virtual relationships, and then came trolls. And trolls' whole purpose was to divide people, divisiveness, to scare people. And so we had 20 years of people getting farther away from their neighbors, farther away from their communities. And then came the pandemic. And then people realized they didn't have intentional relationships. They had incidental relationships with the people they work with the people who go to their gyms, with their kids' parents. People went away from institutions and got more isolated. And when you combine that with the trolls, people started to be fearful that they were alone and that people weren't like them. Current research tells us that, yes, 20% of our population is divided significantly, but that leaves 80% of the people who are not. Those 80% of the people, though, have been frightened into silence, because having conversations with people when you don't know where they stand and they might be horribly divisive people scares people. And fear is at the center of where we are now. And so my goal is to get people talking together and realizing you're part of the 80%, not the 20. I'm not a big gambler, but 80% odds are not bad. And so I think we all need to work together, because it's not just disadvantaged people, or everybody has their thing. And if we're afraid to talk to each other, we know who wins. People who want us divided, people who want us to fear, and we can't let them win. One thing that I've learned in 45 years of living in Fort Collins and working communally is that disasters build community. Because in times of disaster, people come together in ways they have never come together before. And we've had some wonderful shining examples in the last few months. Hurricane survivors that came together in the middle of a very tense election and didn't ask who they voted for. They asked, who has a chainsaw? Who can watch the kids? Who has a generator so we can plug in our cell phones? Whatever it was. And just this last week, South Korea came together across all lines and said, this is not who we are. You cannot take our democracy away from us. And I have great faith in people, in all of us, in our community, and in the citizens of our nation, that when we work together, there's nothing we can't do. But if we are allowed to be divisive, to be frightened, to be angry, to be afraid, then we're screwed. So place your bets on the 80%. And we're going to keep finding ways we can keep coming together and working together, because that's what hope we have. And it's a big hope. But we've always proved it. Thank you.
I'd like to now invite up Commissioner Teresa Cribelli and representatives of the Fort Collins Museum of Discovery for the presentation of the first Organizational Team Award.
It's so nice to be here in front of this big crowd. Thank you for coming. It is my pleasure to introduce the Fort Collins Museum of Discovery, the first of this year's recipients of the HRC Organization Team Award. The museum has been at the forefront of bringing our Northern Colorado community together through an array of events and exhibitions that truly capture the diversity of our region and promote a sense of community belonging. In the last year alone, the museum has organized the following: the Autism Resources Fair, the Teen Self-Care Fair, which I have to say my 16-year-old loved, which was pretty impressive. Hard to impress a 16-year-old. The Human Library is also another project that the museum worked on in collaboration with us, the Human Relations Commission, the Poudre Libraries, the city's Office of Equity and Inclusion, thank you, Claudia and Liz, and the Yarrow Collective and the Larimer County Behavioral Health Services. So they do a lot of outreach and collaboration. They also sponsored the Alebrijes exhibition. The Alebrijes are the Mexican art tradition, the fantastical creatures. Again, my teenager made an alebrije, and they had a big display at the Fort Collins High School. So he really loved that. They also did the Noches en Familia at the museum, the Sonic Spotlight and the Mod Squad, the Dia de Muertos celebration, and the Indigenous Science, Technology, Arts, and Resilience program. And I'm not done. The Summer Mobile program, the Isaac Fellows program, and they also do outreach and visits to Title I schools in our community. And if you haven't seen them, they have two great exhibits going on right now. The first is Skin, Living Armor, the Evolving Identity exhibition that ends January 26th, and The Bias Inside Us exhibition, which ends at the end of this month. So you still have time if you haven't checked those out. I would also like to say that the museum strives to make access to exhibitions and programming equitable and accessible. Currently, 40% of admissions are free or at a reduced cost, making valuable exhibits and comfortable facilities accessible to many. And now, with no further ado, I would like to introduce Shannon Quist, Executive Director of the Nonprofit Partner, and Cheryl Donaldson, Executive Director of the City Partner, who will receive the award on behalf of the Fort Collins Museum of Discovery. So, thank you.
Thank you, Teresa, for the kind introduction, and thank you to all of those with the Human Relations Commission, our fellow finalists and recipients. What an honor to stand here with all of you tonight. The team, the team of staff and volunteers at Fort Collins Museum of Discovery is incredibly grateful for this recognition. To our nominator, your partnership and trust have guided so many connections and opened so many doors in our community. To receive this nomination from you means the world. Thank you. We also want to take a moment to acknowledge with deep gratitude that behind each of the programs and efforts that were shared just a few moments ago, a museum team of dedicated and caring folks and a group of community partners, individuals and organizations alike, aligning efforts and supporting each other to better understand and serve the community we are all a part of. That's what makes it all happen. We're honored to work alongside you, to share with you, to learn from you. So thank you so much for this honor.
All right. So at this time, I'd like to invite HRC Commissioner Rachel Bryan and representatives of Project Self-Sufficiency to the podium for the presentation, the second presentation of the Organization Team Award. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Before we announce the final organization recipient of the Human Relations Reward, I want to say what an honor it is to share space in this room with you all today. I encourage you to look around at everyone that is striving to make our community more welcoming and inclusive, and I hope that you can take a moment to truly be present in a forest filled with love, celebration, and a vision for a better future. For example, Project Self-Sufficiency is playing a substantial role in shaping Fort Collins to be more welcoming and inclusive, offering economic security for under-resourced single parents and their children. Serving parents across racial identity, ethnic diversity, and ability level, as well as domestic abuse survivors. Project Self-Sufficiency offers case management and wraparound supports that produce strong educational outcomes, economic independence, and long-term family stability. They also support social and educational success in participants' children by funding extracurricular opportunities and back-to-school clothing that would otherwise be inaccessible for low-income single-parent families. To highlight their impact, as of 2024, they've served 137 single parents and over 225 children to date. For this year's program graduates, the average income rose from $17,000 when entering the program to over $45,000 due to the comprehensive support in career planning, college enrollment and completion, scholarship and tuition assistance, and interview preparation. Along with housing, transportation, and childcare support, Project Self-Sufficiency takes a holistic approach, and this resonates with their participants. One single parent says, when you're in survival mode, you don't really know what you're doing, but you make it happen. Joining Project Self-Sufficiency has been a saving grace for us. Please join me in welcoming the representatives of Project Self-Sufficiency to the podium to acknowledge their incredible impact on this community.
So it is delightful to be here. And I just want to say, as of today, we've served 141 single parents. So I'm pretty proud of that. I really just have a lot of gratitude to exude. You know, first and foremost, thanks to the commission for the honoring the work that's being done by so many good organizations in the community. It is, as one of you alluded to, it's challenging every single day, and it is so worthwhile, and it is amazing to be validated in this way. So we thank the commission. I want to thank the city for making space for this. I want to thank Tom Tonoli, who nominated us. He's a former board member, and he's in the audience. Thank you, Tom. I also want to thank my team Awesome. So not everybody can make it tonight, but I've got 4 members at the back. I wish y'all would do this. So every member of Team Awesome, every single member down to our toes, we believe in bringing the self-power of education to single-parent families. That is our tagline, and that is what we do on a daily basis. We work hard to let not only the single parents who are in our program, but their children actualize their fullest human potential and fully engage in all the great things that this community has to offer. And I think that is really, really important. I came from a single parent family, and I think we all know how hard it is, right? So single parents rock. And my last comment that I'll make is that we don't do any of this alone. So there are a number of organizations sitting right here in this room who are our partners, who take on very important pieces of elevating the families that we serve. And so this award also goes to you to celebrate the role that you play in partnering with us in elevating single parent families. So thank you so much.
And finally, I'd like to invite HRC Commissioner Beth Jaeger to the podium to deliver her closing remarks.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. Tracy, I already made you go back to your seat, but I wanted to invite all the recipients to come back up to the front of the room with their awards. and for final comments and pictures with our mayor and our mayor pro tem. So if I could ask the 4 award recipients to come back up. Thank you. Got Nina. Pretty amazing night, huh? Okay, we got everybody? Okay. We are fortunate for many reasons, not the least of which is to be in Fort Collins with generous and dedicated individuals and organizations who strive to make our community always better. We count on you to help us to remember to shed intolerance and adopt acceptance, to blame less and look more within ourselves, to avoid exclusion as we work towards equity and inclusion, and finally to take risks by trying to understand unfamiliar and diverse points of view. We celebrate your commitment, your dedication, and your accomplishments. We honor you as you encourage us to take and find opportunities to promote respect and dignity for all, and together to create a community where we all feel welcome, where we all belong. Again, our heartfelt thanks to all of you for your significant contributions to our community. Congratulations. Thank you all for being here. Just a couple of Thank you all for being here at this celebration tonight. It's really been an amazing experience for me and hopefully for all of you to celebrate all these wonderful individuals and organizations. I want to invite you all to share some more food, even take some home if you wish. But I just, my deep thanks for all of you for sharing in this moment tonight. Have a great evening.